Hi guys, Lovik here, and today Intrepid, a long overdue review of this great cooperative survival game that takes place in space. If you remember the movie Gravity with George Clooney, Sandra Bullock, this is the game for you guys if you enjoyed the movie. Definitely a great vibe. Now, in this video, 10 minutes or a few more, I will tell you about all the pluses and all the things that I don't really like or I'm afraid that can be bad in the long run about the game, and I hope this might influence your decision to maybe buy it, whether new you can find it or secondhand, or maybe they will be coming up with an expansion and you want to buy it or something like that. I'll tell you about my impressions from the game. So let's go. So Intrepid is, even in the rulebook, which I have here, is described as "Can you survive the low Earth orbit?" ? So this is definitely a survival cooperative game in which 1 to 4 players, because you can play it solo as well, can try to, get all the climate, oxygen and nutrition and energy levels up and running so that the space station can survive in low Earth orbit. It's a game from Uproarious Games, by the way. Hi guys. I had a little problem with the components from the main game, and I'm saying cheers because they've sorted out the missing component very, very quickly. I was very much surprised positively by their response and by the waiting time, the short waiting time for the components. But now let's take a look at the game. Now, everything comes in game trays in the box, which is mightily cool when it comes to sorting it and storing it and tear up and tear down, set up and tear down of the game. So that's a great plus right out from the box. The components, as you can see, are really original. Take a look at those boards, which you navigate here with a marker to see how much climate in this case you will have. You've got indented spaces for the player board here. You have double layered tracks over here. This spins so that you can manage your threat levels or danger levels here on those tracks, and you've got 4 because each player manages a different resource and is responsible for a different resource on the ship. If you are playing solo, you're responsible for 4 of them. If you're playing in 2 players, 2 each, and so forth and so on. And the board itself is also really cool, but I will have to take off some of those components I've taken out. I don't know if you can see this, but you have on the board, you have those like plastic indented spaces for tokens with the modules that you can insert in, so they don't really run away, they don't slide. You have those rows in which you can place them. This is great. The board is basically one of the components that when I opened the box I said, wow, it looks pretty neat. Now, so the whole presentation of the game, how it looks like, is great. I also like the streamline of the gameplay because during the game, and this is a cooperative game, and I can't stress it enough that this is a cooperative game, you do a lot of actions like together at the same time because each of you has to manage their own resources, and there is very little room for a dominant player, which is a very big drawback for many people when it comes to cooperative games, because sometimes you have this one player who's ordering everybody around and you do this and you do that, right? But here everybody's responsible for their own piece of cake, so it's kind of like your decision and you have to communicate with other players. So do you think we will have enough of climate? Because if not, then I have some abilities that can help you with climate, but if you're okay with climate, I will go and do some more energy of my own because we still need. And there is a lot of going over the table, communicating and figuring out the mathematics, if we have enough of this and if we have enough of that, and it's all calculable. You can calculate everything here more or less, barring the dice rolls, but you do those calculations after you roll the dice, so you still have some wiggle room. So the randomness factor here is very low in my opinion, and the communication and cooperation factor is really, really strong. This is a very cooperative game at its heart, and it really is difficult for one player to dominate the whole game, which for me is a huge plus This is a plus. It's not like a no, no, no. This is a gigantic plus. I can even show it like this. I don't know. It's a huge okay from me for that, right? And the streamline of the game is great as well, because you flow from one section of the game to another, from one phase of the game to another very quickly after one gameplay. And you can check out the how to play video on my channel as well to find out about all of those phases. Everything is pretty understandable and the game flows very quickly. And another plus is the variability and the scaling of difficulty, because you have those different astronauts, and if you have the Kickstarter add-on, the expansion, you get 8 of those, and if not, there are 4 in the basic game. Then they all have different difficulty levels, and the basic astronauts are pretty easy with the dice that they roll and, you know, and the modules that they have. But the more experienced players can take the advanced astronauts who have less dice in the beginning, for example, but they have more methods of manipulating with storing of the dice and opening locks, and each of them has different mechanics. So you have to learn a bit about each of the astronauts that you play. And this is cool because it's fresh every single time. Even for a solo game, I've played like 5 or 6 solo games right now, and I've chosen different astronauts for each game, and it's still fresh every single time. So combining this with different threats, because you have the meteor shower, you've got the toxic leak, you've got the solar burn, and you've got the tutorial scenario, which is called training simulator. So you have a lot of combinations. You also have scaling difficulty in the rule book with the availability of resources in the beginning of the game and such. So you can balance the level of difficulty very well. And what's even more cool is that you can sit beginner players and advanced players in this game at one table, give the beginners the easier astronauts, give the advanced player the more advanced astronauts, and they will be having the same amount of fun, because each of them will have a level of difficulty tailored more to them. So you will give more challenge to the better players, you will get easier astronauts to the new players, and they will still be able to kind of cooperate at the same level. So this is brilliant, really. This is a gigantic plus. Out of all the co-op games that I have, this is right now easily my favorite game when it comes to the interaction between players. Okay, enough sweet talk, ladies and gentlemen. I've said a lot of positive things, and I think that right now you probably are thinking, well, this is a game I want to buy. Now, let's talk a bit about the negative sides. There aren't too many, I think, but still, I don't know about the the kind of durability of the game in the long run when it comes to those events, because you have those 3 threats that you have, so the toxic leak and the meteor shower and the solar storm. And after you play the toxic leak a few times, it gets kind of predictable and a bit repetitive, because you expect more or less what kind of things can happen and which direction does the threat going to go. Sure, they have different mechanics, all of them, but it's kind of like a bit easy to memorize, for me at least, sometimes. And if you don't have the expansion, the 4 astronauts from the main game box can be a bit of a too little variety if you really play the game intensively. So if you intend to play this game very often, like, in cycles, then you can kind of wear it down a bit because of the, of the amount of variations here. But I think that this is not as big of a minus as the plus with the cooperative factor. It's a lot of fun and a lot of satisfaction when you set the game to a high difficulty level, and together you discuss which resources you need right now, which modules do you want to build and can build, what you should invest your points in, and which can we leave at critical, which resource can we leave at critical, which ones we can't allow ourselves to leave at critical, what can I do. You can also pass dice between players. There is a rule for that, so you can help out others and trade and stuff. So really, you won't probably notice, a lot of us playing this game won't probably notice that you are playing the same astronauts and the same threats over again, because there is so much fun and so much cooperation here. So yeah, I can't say a lot of bad things about this game. This is a great discovery for me on Kickstarter, to be honest, because it came out of the blue for me, and I risked buying it because I liked the topic, and that was it. And when it came and when I played it solo and together with my team, my group, we were blown away by the cooperative factor here. So if you like a bit mathy games with little randomness to them, where you can mitigate this randomness a lot, where you have to communicate a lot and really cooperate without dominating the game by one player, where the difficulty level is pretty appropriate and easily scaling, and you like the thematics of, you know, space and technology and kind of like the realistic, a bit sci-fi but very realistic approach to the space station and everything, grab this game. Really, there's a huge recommendation from me. Loving it, and you will love it too if you grab it. Thank you, Uproarious Games, for creating this wonder. I hope that there will be a Kickstarter campaign with some more expansions, with more astronauts, with more threats. Don't stop here. Do more. This is gold. Really. Thank you. My name was Lone Vic. If you liked this review, if you like the how to play videos on my channel, click the subscribe button, give me a like, shout out in the comments, ring the notification bell to be notified about new videos. For now, this is all. This was Intrepid from Uproarious Games. See you soon. Bye bye. Have a great day.